2 months ago, viral child influencer Lil Tay's social medias awoke from their slumber to proclaim that she had passed away at the age of 16. The posts were punctuated by the sentence, "Claire will forever remain in our hearts, her absence leaving an irreplaceable void that will be felt by all who knew and loved her." Immediately, people started freaking out. While she was alive, the narrative around her existence might have been that she was annoying, a pesky brat, a spectacle, a clout chaser, or an exploited, unfortunate child star. Now that she had passed when she was young, tweets about possible abuse rose to the surface. People speculated about the evils of her exploitative family, the suspicious circumstances of her death. If you're familiar with the case, you know that Lil Tay never died, that this post was maybe even an attention grab, one made to bolster a music career that she would launch later in the year. Death on the internet is only getting more complicated. My dad died when I was 7. I'll give you a play-by-play. It was February 19th, 2009. My mother called my sister and I into the living room. She told me and my sister that my father had collapsed while playing ping pong at one of his friend's house. Ping pong was one of his favorite hobbies alongside cricket. I remember having two thoughts in the moment. The first being, I want to go on the computer. I want to watch videos. The second being, he's dead and I know it. I don't know how I knew that. I don't know through which context I understood that the stakes were so high, but nonetheless, I felt it. I asked my mother if I could watch videos on the computer. She said yes, so I went downstairs onto my parents' computer and I watched Fred. Less than an hour later, my father was pronounced dead from a catastrophic heart failure. My mother called us into the living room. She told us, we cried, and I remember thinking, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. My entire life in that hour changed irrevocably. It was turned upside down, and it was a change that I had a premonition of. During an hour, I spent watching Fred videos on my parents' shitty Dell PC. Ultimately, Lil Tay's passing was aesthetic. Functionally, the lives of most internet users would be the same whether or not Lil Tay was in the world. In fact, we wouldn't be able to tell. But that doesn't keep people on the internet from operating as though the deaths of celebrities are ritualistic holidays, ripe for farming interactions. The slew of memes that flow through Twitter after a prominent celebrity death are evidence of this. Everything from the celebrity with half of their face meshed with the rapper XXXTentacion, or the celebrity joining other prominent figures and Harambe in heaven, a joke that's been making the rounds on the internet for a third of my life. The internet is seemingly forever. More forever than anything, more forever than people. Wikipedia has a listing for death and the internet, a listing they describe as a recent extension to the cultural relationship with death, the increasing number of people who die having created a large amount of digital content, such as social media profiles that will remain after death. These remnants oftentimes are both disturbing and very meaningful to us. The final posts of people I have known who have since passed away sometimes stick in my mind. Technoblade might be one of the highest profile examples of this, a Minecraft YouTuber who passed away last year after a long battle with cancer. The month of his death, he experienced a massive view spike, one that he wasn't alive to see. The month before he passed, he had around 10.3 million subscribers. Now he sits around 16.6 million. After the passing of a creator, we may engage with their content to show that even now that they're gone, we still care. 9 months ago, his father posted a clip of him reaching 10 million subscribers, along with his jokey elbow reveal. A video of a man who is no longer alive, making a promise that his father ultimately kept. Sometimes I get emotional thinking about Technoblade. Not because I was a massive fan of him, but because he really just put so much love for what he did and the audience he did it for, and the words he wrote for his father to read in the video that announced his passing. But that's all from me. Thank you all for supporting my content over the years. If I had another 100 lives, I would choose to be Technoblade again, every single time, as those were the happiest years of my life. I hope you guys enjoyed my content and I made some of you laugh, and I hope you all go on and live long, prosperous, and happy lives because I love you guys. Technoblade out. Technoblade out. Technoblade out. Technoblade out. Signing off like he'll see you in the next video. The videos remain on his channel. It's bigger than it's ever been. Technoblade may be gone, but Technoblade is not dead. 2 years ago, a friend that I knew only through the internet took his own life. somebody who I wanted to be closer to than I ever was. 2 nights before, I'd given him my number, told him to call me so that we could chat about everything going on in his life because I was concerned about him. He said he wanted to, but he had work to get done. I said, get whatever you need to do done, and if you need anything, let me know. I'm here for you. A few days later, I was given the news by a friend of his. I was given the email of his parents so that I could write them something about what their child had meant to me. I could tell them how coy and clever and funny he was, how idiosyncratic, how smart he was, how he made me want to be smarter and better. I never sent the email. The entire trajectory of our relationship as friends, from the moment I met him to the moment his life ended, was confined to direct messages. People used to disappear much faster. When we look to before the advent of realistic portraits, the closest we can get to face with our ancestors is digital recreation of what they may have looked like, a grueling scientific process that requires detailed DNA analysis. The last 2 decades have marked an explosion in personal online video content, a level of detailed individual documentation never paralleled before in human history. Anyone on Earth who has a phone is able to constantly capture high-resolution photo and video at any given moment, and many of them do. Even with this ability, we often don't capture the things that other people are most curious about. Years ago now, a group of friends and I stumbled upon a website called astronaut.io, a website that directs you to random YouTube videos with 0 views. After a series of uninteresting results, it seemed like we might never find something compelling. Then, a channel called Whale Joke appeared. An unnamed man who had been uploading the same joke every day since December 27, 2017. We found him probably around 900 to 1,000 days in, and we were immediately hooked. We wanted to know who he was, why he started this, what he intended to do. We scoured every video, every background, deduced that he must be an avid board gamer, tried to read fuzzy diplomas in the backgrounds of videos. We even managed to triangulate the location of videos he'd filmed in public places, statues from vacations perhaps. We started a profile to investigate. Our notes by the end were, profile so far. Maybe lives in US state, drinks alcohol, probably over 21, board game, video game nerd, Doctor Who fan, traveled mid-2018. 1,000 videos, and we couldn't find any substantive information. We did find an ongoing one-sided relationship with a specific commenter, Brad L., trying to court the friendship of Whale Joke, commenting video after video, asking for a response to his messages, wondering how the creator of Whale Joke was doing, wishing him happy holidays, waiting for a response that ultimately would not come. Going to Brad L's channel now, there is no content, no about page, no playlists, a vacant house. Only his comments indicated that this was a living, breathing person. We kept looking, but at the time, the comments eventually stopped too. I love Whale Joke. It's irreverent and surreal and truly obscure. He was not doing this for a big audience, 52 subscribers maybe, and by the end, he could not have been doing it to go viral anymore. This channel is a documentation of nothing. The last Whale Joke was posted on February 21st, 2022. 4 years of Whale Joke, a commemoration. To my surprise, the top comment was from none other than Brad L. I hope everything is okay. Where are all the whale jokes since February 21st? I miss you. Please come back to do more whale jokes. It was a part of my daily routine to watch it. What is a dead channel? A channel that used to post that doesn't anymore? A channel with no views, no audience that continues to upload? The definition of a dead account or channel oscillates between these two options. Somebody used to live here, we cared, and somebody still lives here, but we don't. Death on the internet holds many meanings, some applying to the death of the audience, some to the death of the author. To us, travelers on a dense network of transient acts of communication, silence might as well be the end. When this video ends and you close the tab or the YouTube app, I am as good as dead to you. Of course, if you enjoy my videos, my death would hold weight in reality. You won't feel that weight when you close this video. Once it's gone, I will still be there in the world, breathing and loving and groveling for more. On and on we run away from the things we are afraid. Our morbid curiosity tumbling down a hill like a snowball. Tragedy belies tragedy belies tragedy. We are always looking for a scarier hypothetical. The explosion of criminal psychology analysis on YouTube, post hoc analyses of interrogations of murderers and shooters makes me think that the internet's inclination to investigate death further is a complex desire. To feel right, morally superior, informed, I might never know. Watching these videos of people who have recently committed incomprehensible crimes is bizarre. On one hand, armchair psychology and body language are hardly intense scientific analysis. On the other hand, we have all the facts. It's circular reasoning. He did that because he's guilty. He's guilty because he confessed. He confessed because he's guilty. We know he's guilty because he did that. The ends justify the means, justify the ends, and now we can analyze them. Etika and Reckful are two names that might be familiar to you if you have ever participated in the online gaming or streaming community. They are two figures who took their own lives. Two people whose last moments we have some video footage of. Etika's last video is something of a letter. He says the things that he wishes he did, the things that he wishes he didn't. He reminisces on the media that he'll never get to see, the last episodes of Attack on Titan. Reckful's is somewhat tame by comparison. He's low energy, he's ending a stream. He tells the people in the chat to find people who are like them and to become friends with those people. He is dimly lit. The sky in the background is bright, maybe even a sunset. He says he hopes that things get better from here. The only emotions that these losses have provoked: grief, anguish, sorrow. Nobody wants to lose you. Even the people who couldn't be further from you, the people who have no control over your life, they don't want to see you gone. The grief and anguish, it is documented in comments and chat logs, in text, put onto servers that will outlive us all. The death was only a moment, but the grief is immortal on the internet. Death is a commodity on the internet. Gore videos, shootings, documentations of the final moments of somebody's life, WikiLeaks, beheadings, the strange spindly chains of gossip that run through heavily censored TikTok comments. Have you seen the Lathe video? Have you seen the one where X happens to Y, where Z becomes... You get it. Necropolitics is defined as the use of social and political power to dictate how some people may live and how some must die. The capitalist, colonial, and imperialist projects are obsessively concerned with death, extermination, and the framing of these things. Did Columbus bring civilization to the Americas? So long as we don't know the history, for all intents and purposes, he might as well have. It depends on who's looking. Timothy Treadwell was a documentarian and a bear enthusiast. In 2003, he and his girlfriend were camping in Katmai National Park. They were both violently mauled and killed by a bear. Being a documentarian, Treadwell was filming at the time. The audio from their deaths was recorded. It exists. We know it, but you can't hear it. It isn't available to the public. Still, people want to hear it. There are even high-profile fakes filled with ambient wind and gut-wrenching performances. We want so badly to see this distant horror that there is a veritable market for knockoffs. I stumbled upon one of the fakes the other day. The comments were filled with statements of people who assumed it was real. To those who haven't researched for the availability of the tape, there is no difference. They click on this, they hear screaming, they hear growling, they hear death. A gravestone is not necessarily where a person is buried. It's just an aesthetic indicator. Sometimes I wonder about the increasing proliferation of medical GoFundMes, a phenomenon so common that GoFundMe offers multiple articles about the process of making one. In this article, they even have suggestions on the illnesses: breast cancer, leukemia, lymphoma, health insurance, surgery. Cute little bubbles to get you started on your fundraising adventure. When we look at the past, we are shown incomprehensible tragedy. We see images of the people of Pompeii locked in their final positions, frozen in time, reaching for forgiveness, begging for mercy, for help. It fills us with sadness, dread, the feeling that people born long ago were not dissimilar to us. The further we get from today, will we look back on it the same way? Will we scrounge the burial sites of the internet to find chemotherapy GoFundMes, sorrowfully inscribed with "This campaign did not reach its goal"? Around 16,000 people died in Pompeii. As many as 44,000 people in America each year die due to lack of healthcare. Even the necropolitical fails to fully capture my engagement with death on the internet. The most common deaths we see on the internet are those of the marginalized. Black Americans detained and killed at the hands of law enforcement, the victims of war covered in rubble and broken buildings, executions. On the other hand, assassinations of public figures. Perhaps that dichotomy necessitates an investigation into not just the use of power to dictate life and death, But who gets to see that death? Surely a video of a factory worker being killed by unsafe equipment in a developing country is a textbook example of fatality at the hands of an exploitative capital owner. But to anonymous forum posters looking for videos of gore, it's just another rung on a ladder. 5 years after the death of my father, I attended a week-long Catholic summer camp, an overnight camp, and I was horrendously homesick the whole time. My friend's parents drove me home. I was dropped off. I went inside, and it was just eerily empty. My mom and my sister had not made sure to be home when I got there, so I just kind of paced around. All the lights were off, and I stumbled upon this newspaper that was on the table. That detailed my science teacher from the year before, who was beloved by many people, but my best friend especially, was killed in a boating accident. She was struck by a drunk driver, and I cried. I paced around the house, and it was surreal, and it was like gut wrenching and weird, and I was all alone, and I was so confused. And later in the day, I went over to my best friend's house, and I remember, I think, being on his iPad or my mom's phone or something, and seeing all of these in memoriam posts posted by my classmates, and just the fact that I was one of the last people to know, and it had just circulated digitally was weird. And now when I look up her name, the first result that appears is a digitized obituary. And when I look up my name, the first thing that you see is a marketable persona, one that my father, her, never knew. When I look up my father's name and I go to his digitized obituary, I receive a pop-up. You're using an ad blocker. Do you want to disable it and subscribe? Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this and you want to support what I do, the best way you can do that is by subscribing to my Patreon. I post weekly updates, and there is a royalty-free music library there, full with all of the music that I use in my videos. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself and others, be kind to yourself and others, and I will see you all next week for another video. Bye.